All right, Senator French, you should be all set.
Good, we're live. So I'd like to welcome everyone. I am Harold French, Senator District 7. Today, we will be holding a meeting of the Senate Commerce Committee. Before we get started, I'll read through a checklist to ensure that the meeting that we are about to be holding is in compliance with the right to know law. As chair of the Commerce Committee, I find that due to the state of the emergency declared by the governor as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-4 and its extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possible by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the committee and selected legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously in this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously watch and or listen to the meeting on Zoom or YouTube and via phone by following the directions and links provided on the General Court website. We have provided public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting in the Senate calendar. We are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please email remotesenate@leg.state.nh.us or call 603-271-6931. Once again, that's 603-271-6931. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, we will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote only. Finally, let's start the meeting by taking a roll call of attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state where they are and if anyone else is in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Start. Senator Soucy.
Good morning. This is Senator Donna Soucy. I am at my home in Manchester and I'm alone.
Senator Bradley.
Good morning, Jeb Bradley. I am at Karen's rental property in Rockport, Mass, and alone.
Senator Gannett.
Top of the morning to you, Senator. I am in sunny Sandtown, alone in my home office.
And Senator Kavanaugh.
Good morning, Kevin Kavanaugh, my home in Manchester. My wife and youngest son are in the house, but I am alone in the room.
And once again, I'm Senator French. I'm broadcasting live from the office in Concord that I share with Attorney Sullivan. He is in the office, but not in the room at this time. So let's get started. We've got a very hectic schedule this week. We'll probably be execing right afterwards. We'll start with House Bill 171. Cameron, do we have anyone interested?
We have the prime sponsor, Representative Patuchik. Representative, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Chairman French. It's so nice to see you again. And all my co-commerce folks on the Senate side. Representative John Patuchik, Rockingham 6 Derry. For the record, I'm here to introduce to you House Bill 171 relative to food in cigar shops. This bill passed the House Commerce Committee 19 to zip. And what it does, it removes or changes one word in the RSA 178:20-A(2) to read, does not allow cigarette smoking or cross-out service and replace with sale of food on the premises. What it does, it allows cigar shop owners to provide bar snacks to their customers who are sitting there with their favorite cigar and imbibing in their favorite adult beverages. We believe that it having something to nosh on, that's a phrase from northern New Jersey, is a lot safer for the folks than having nothing in their stomach and going out to drive home with just alcohol and cigar smoke in their stomach. So that's what we believed in, and it passed unanimously from the Commerce Committee and on the consent calendar. And I would be willing to take any questions that you might have about this. Thank you very much for your attention, my fellow
Americans.
Yes, New Hampshireites.
Thank you, John. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator, and I am off to another Zoom.
Have fun.
Thank you.
The
Cameron?
only other person that I have signed up to speak is Curtis Berry. Curtis, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Berry. How you doing?
Terrific, thank you. And thank you for holding the hearing so quickly after passage in the House last week. I'm Curtis Barry here on behalf of the Cigar Association of New Hampshire, which is a coalition of about a dozen premium cigar retail shops in the state among 5 owners. And in support of the bill, Representative Petusik did an excellent job explaining what it does, and I can add just a little bit more flavor. When this statute was enacted in 2009, there was an effort to make sure that cigar bars who could serve liquor would not turn into restaurants. But the term service has been interpreted to mean providing anything at all, as Representative Petusik mentioned. So the folks that I represent, which make up about 4 cigar bar licenses among the about a dozen statewide, simply want to provide something for the patrons while they're sitting there. This bill would allow them to do that. It is identical to Senate Bill 478 that passed out of this committee, Senate Commerce, last year unanimously, and passed on the Senate floor on a voice vote, but they then got hung up in the COVID suspension and so forth. So I would hope the committee looks favorably upon it once again. It's a common sense minor change to the statute, and that has received no opposition and has theoretically passed both bodies unanimously, just not in the same session. So I'm happy to answer questions.
Great. Any questions? Seeing none, you're off the hook.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
may I ask one?
sure. Senator Susie.
Mr. Barry, I know there are a couple establishments not far from me that have food trucks that drive up to try to accommodate the need. Would this just be prepared foods that the cigar shops would be selling?
Well, they would not be selling them. Right. This is just free food.
Just free. Okay.
Yes. So, which is why the change from the word service to sale, the prohibition would be on the sale of food, but they could provide something. And again, what they have in mind is the typical bar snacks. But yes, my understanding is, to your initial question, if a patron brings their own into the establishment, then there's nothing that prevents that.
That would continue. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yep. You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Senator French, that is everyone that I have signed up for House Bill 171. So anyone who would like to speak, you can raise your hand on Zoom using the raise hand button. Or if you're on the phone, you could dial *9 and that'll raise your hand on the phone.
Seeing none,
I'm not seeing any. Yeah.
okay, then I'll close the hearing on House Bill 171.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
since we have 3 minutes until the next hearing, I would move we go into executive session.
Second.
we have a motion to go to executive session by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes,
and Senator French says yes.
I
I
move
have a
on to
motion?
pass.
We have a motion of ought to pass by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Any discussion? Seeing none, Senator Bradley,
Yes,
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
yes,
and Senator French says yes.
I
I
move
have consent?
consent.
We have a motion of consent by Senator Kavanaugh, seconded by Senator Bradley. Senator Bradley,
Yes,
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
yes.
and Senator French says yes. Thank you very much.
I move that
Motion.
we come out of exec session.
Second.
We have a motion to come out of executive session by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Senator
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes,
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes,
and Senator French says yes. I am so glad to have such experienced help on this committee.
and you still have 2 minutes to, take a break, Harold.
You
Senator
guys are amazing.
Senator French, who did you want to take that bill out?
Oh, yeah, who'd like to take it out?
Gannon.
Senator Gannon?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love cigar bars. I wonder if I'll get hot dogs when I go in Three Guys Smoke Shop. Two guys, not three.
Two guys cigar shop?
Unless you join with them, then it'll be three, French, but in retirement. Senator French, bring my little state house in next week. The bottle, the state
Okay.
house. I'll bring my 50.
I will do that.
Awesome. Be on the lookout for one more for me.
Okay.
Thank you. Might as well antique while I'm here, right?
Oh, definitely. Never miss an opportunity to make a sale. Whose idea was it to space these so far apart, Aaron? Aaron?
I'll take responsibility.
Okay, you are my advisor.
I am.
Oh, 9:15. We'll open House hearings on House Bill 272 relative to the labeling and sale of hemp products. Do we have the prime sponsor with us?
We do. Representative Knirk, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, I just did. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can. Go right ahead.
All right, thank you very much. For the record, my name is Jerry Knirk. I represent Carroll County District 3, and I also currently serve as the chair of the New Hampshire Therapeutic Cannabis Medical Oversight Board. There's a rapidly expanding market for CBD-containing products. Now, CBD is one of the active components of cannabis. It's not psychoactive like THC, which is the major component we think of, but it does have pharmacologic effects. Currently, CBD is not regulated at the state level, and there's only minimal regulation at the federal level, leaving the market a little reminiscent of the snake oil salesman of old. It would really be preferable for the FDA to finally get on the stick and regulate CBD on a federal level, but they simply have not done so. So the problem for consumers buying CBD is that there are no requirements for testing or labeling. Random testing of CBD products has demonstrated gross inaccuracies in the concentration of CBD from what was stated on the label, sometimes with essentially no CBD in the product. Likewise, contamination of the product with pesticides, heavy metals, and mold can occur, and that will not be known to the consumer if the product is not tested. Now, this bill is a product of the 2019 Hemp Study Legislative Committee. The 2018 Farm Bill removed hemp from the DEA Schedule 1, where cannabis resides, and allows the sale of hemp products. The THC content cannot exceed 0.3% in order to be compliant with federal rules. The FDA allows the sale of hemp products, including oil, as long as it is not added to food or sold with a health claim. But the FDA does not regulate CBD any further. And though the FDA prohibits the addition of CBD to food on a federal level, a state can override that if desired, but there can be no transport across state lines of food products with CBD added. So what this bill does, it seeks to regulate CBD products for retail sale with the goal of consumer protection and safety by ensuring the accurate labeling of the contents of the product and a product free of contaminants, along with appropriate warning labels regarding use in pregnancy and in children. A certificate of analysis would be on the label or traceable from the label. And these testing and labeling requirements are modeled on product testing that we use in the therapeutic cannabis program and on Vermont law, which has a similar law in place. Basically, a consumer has the right to know how much CBD they're consuming to allow them to consume what they perceive as a therapeutic dose while avoiding unintentional overdose. I think you may also hear from representatives of CBD industry who testified at the House hearing who support the bill given the inaction of the FDA. The Natural Products Association submitted testimony closing with the following statement. NPA and our member companies are concerned that without a clear regulatory pathway in place, tainted products will continue to enter the marketplace, leaving consumers susceptible to harm and discouraging legitimate companies. Now, this program is designed to be at least partially self-funded by product registration fees. In the House Environment and Agriculture Committee, we discussed the difficulty of getting an appropriation to fund the startup of the program. Representative Sherry Detsy on ENA gets the credit for coming up with an idea of asking industry to help fund the program, given their interest in getting this bill in place. So the bill, as amended by the House, creates a cannabidiol program to administer the program that will be funded by industry, and we also have a pending federal appropriation. We should hear about the federal appropriation over the next few weeks. I met with Representative Maggie Hassan's staff, and they're working on trying to get this in as an appropriation, not just for our state, but for some other states as well. Now, time for a reality check. Having just gone through the House budget process with significant cuts to the DHHS budget, it's clear that there's really no way the DHHS can fund this. And this program really cannot start without secure funding. So I've had to think about this over the last little while, and I really see two different solutions we could come up with for this problem. One is to set the effective date contingent upon sufficient funding of the cannabidiol fund. In other words, this program be in place, ready to go, pending the funding. Number two is to retain the bill and then proceed next year if the funding is secure. But either way, it really probably cannot run as it currently is going. I mean, we can't impose upon DHHS to run this program when we do not have funding for it. DHHS has expressed some concern about what may appear to be a conflict of interest if the program to regulate an industry is funded by that same industry. I think that's conceivable, but this legislation was written before industry ever became involved. And I kind of see it as a private-public partnership in the sense of government and the industry working together to be able to have safety for the industry. Bottom line is CBD industry wants this regulation to protect legitimate companies. We need this regulation to protect public health, especially with regard to children and pregnant and lactating mothers. And our citizens deserve this regulation to know what they are consuming and to be given appropriate safety and health warnings when they buy CBD in New Hampshire. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative. Can you tell me where do most of the CBD products come from?
They can come from anywhere. We actually, one of the other things we tried to do with the Hemp Study Committee was to develop our own program of licensure for hemp growers within our state. Currently, our hemp growers have to be licensed by the FDA, but part of this whole process of the Hemp Study Committee was to foster the industry of hemp growing and CBD within New Hampshire. So we wanted to both have the regulation of the CBD products and at the meantime, foster the licensing of hemp growing within our state. Again, currently done by FDA, but they do come from all over. If you go into a health food store now, you'll often see products that come from Vermont.
Vermont.
Yeah, they have a
Any
robust
coming in
program.
from, any coming in from out of the country?
I do not know of anything coming in from out of the country. I think that might be prohibited because it is still, cannabis cannot be taken across international boundaries. And I think the FDA Farm Bill allowed it across state boundaries, but I do not know if it allowed international boundaries.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions from the panel? Senator Gannon?
Yeah, thank you, Representative. You mentioned earlier the pharmacological effects. What would those be?
Well, the one that's sort of best accepted is the CBD is actually available as a FDA-approved drug called Epidiolex, which is used in the treatment of severe seizures. That is one of the reasons the FDA gets involved with this, and that's why they have a role, because there is an approved drug as well that contains the compound. But the major areas are anxiety. There seems to be evidence there. There is some growing evidence that CBD can play a role in diminishing cravings and therefore helping to treat withdrawal in people who have, God, I can't get the word out, opioid use disorder. Likewise, insomnia is a place that it probably has some help. Many of the things that we do in the therapeutic cannabis program require the synergistic effect of both THC and CBD to be therapeutic, but for some of them, CBD is the predominant medication, not medication, but the predominant chemical that one wishes to have for a certain effect.
Thank you,
But
Representative.
that's still growing. You know, being a Schedule I for so long, we don't have good research.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Bradley?
Yes, good morning, Representative Knirk. So is this regulation just going to be for CBD products that somebody would ingest, or is it going to be for the therapeutic oils and creams that people put on the outside of their body too?
Yes, oils and creams as well. Basically, the primary ways that CBD is taken, as Senator Bradley has just said, is a tincture, which is placed under the tongue or swallowed or mixed with food, pills and ointments, which are rubbed onto an affected body part. The absorption there is a great deal slower, but it would regulate all of those.
Further question?
Go ahead.
What other states actually have, this kind of labeling and regulation at this point?
I cannot tell you what all the states. I know that many of them are working toward it, which is why they were trying to get that appropriation. Vermont already has a rather robust program in place, and the representatives of their program came to speak to us in the Hemp Study Committee. They have the same idea of certificate of analysis for making sure there are no contaminants, but also to get the profile of cannabinoids which are present within the CBD. And basically what it does, it gives us a seal of approval that when you go and buy it and it's coming from Vermont, that you're getting actually a real product that really has CBD in it and is clean.
And last question.
Go ahead.
Has there in Vermont been any limitation on the public being able to access products because of this regulatory environment?
I did not hear of any difficulty with access when we had the people from Vermont over to speak with us. In fact, again, part of the goal of this was to foster a more robust industry by people being able to trust what they were getting and keeping out crummy products that were just rubbish.
And did it cause any price spikes or anything like that?
Number one, I do not know. Number two is, given the fact that they instituted right about the time that CBD became available, I don't think we would have had pre-regulation data to know if it increased the price.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you very much, Representative.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Cameron?
The next person on my list is Representative Peter Bixby. Representative, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Representative Peter Bixby, Stratford County 17, representing Dover and Somersworth. And I was on a couple of hemp study committees, one in 2018, one in 2019, which I was on along with Representative Knurk. And my angle on this is the role of hemp in New Hampshire agriculture. And that we had those study committees because there was distinct interest among New Hampshire farmers to be able to grow hemp. And one of the factors in terms of growing hemp in New Hampshire is that as a pure fiber crop, we could not compete in any way because the fiber is too low. The return on investment for growing hemp for fiber is ballpark. Well, at that point, it was ballpark $75 per acre. You'd need we just don't have the kind of acreage in New Hampshire to be able to do that. Whereas the return on investment at that point for CBD growing was about $750 per acre, which is getting to the point where you can actually use, it becomes viable as a commercial prospect. So we had a number of people who are interested in growing. Initially, between 2014 and 2018, there had to be a state program that would basically do the licensing on a sort of a pilot project basis. And the initial committee that I served on recommended that we do that. And then the 2018 Farm Bill just changed the landscape, so we had to change our entire approach. And we came up with the idea. The second study committee came up with the idea of doing one bill that would deal with whether we should license in New Hampshire, and another bill that would deal with the regulatory issues that the current bill is dealing with. And we decided that we made the choice of whether to go ahead with the state licensing bill based on how many people signed up for federal licensing. The licensing can either be state or federal, but you can't mix them. So just in terms of timing, we couldn't get the state licensing up and running so that people could grow in the 2019 and 2020 growing season. So we said, go for the federal licensing, and if it looks like there's a lot of interest, then we'll look into getting the state program up and running. It turned out that we didn't have enough people who were growing. I think there are ballpark a dozen or so people who are growing in New Hampshire under federal licensing. That's not enough to create the economics of scale for a state program. But one of the things that's really important for growing hemp in New Hampshire is that you need to have the processing capacity and the markets. And if the quality of the product that is available in the market is dubious, that's going to damage the reputation of the product overall, and it's going to be a lot harder to have a legitimate industry that is doing the processing. And in order for our farmers to succeed, they need to have access to processors. So what the current bill does is it creates a situation where if people are buying new CBD in New Hampshire, or CBD that has been produced in New Hampshire, they will know by the certification on the label that it really has in it what it says it does. And What you really don't want is someone buying CBD because their friend said, you know, CBD, you really helped me with my pain on this or that. And so they buy some CBD and it doesn't do anything for them because in fact it fake product and it has practically nothing in it. And then there's no faith in the fact that the product actually works. And then you basically destroy the market. So what this bill does is it makes sure that the market will be stable. And if there's a stable market, then we will be able to have a processing industry in the state, and we'll be able to have farmers who can sell to that processing industry. And this is a high value product for farmers. So I think this is something that would be really good to promote our agricultural sector. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Representative, do you know how many acres are going to be under growing hemp this year in New Hampshire?
I don't have that data. I could look it up. Well, I could check with the Department of Agriculture, Markets and Food and see if they have some data on that.
I was just curious. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, thank you, Representative. Cameron?
The next speaker I have is Representative Howard Pearl, who I believe is in the Zoom as Howard P. Yep, Representative, if you could unmute yourself. There you go.
Hey, good morning. This is Representative Howard Pearl from Loudon. I represent Merrimack 26. I am also the chair of the Environment and Agricultural Committee. I'm not going to take a lot of time because you've had a pretty thorough analysis of the bill from Representative Knurk and Representative Bixby, but I was the third leg of the triumvirate on that 2019 Hemp Legislative Committee. So you've got all three of us here now.
Nice.
As you heard in the previous testimony, out of that study committee, we did have a 2020 bill, and which was the preemption to this bill that we have today before you, 272. I guess I'll just touch on a couple of points. They've taken most everything I had down for notes. There was a considerable effort put in working with HHS and the Department of Ag on the input into this bill. And so it's been through a pretty good filter as far as going through the Environment and Ag Committee this time. And I believe it was in Commerce, the previous bill. So there's been a lot of work done on this. And I know we're sort of going into a new area. I will agree with Representative Knurk that the funding issues may be a concern for this bill. I guess I certainly support the bill and support the concept of what it's trying to do, but I think either pushing out the effective date as he suggested or retaining it may be the better choice for it at this point in time, because we definitely do have some funding concerns with it. But I'm going to leave it up to the wisdom of you all in the Senate to decide what you feel is best with this. But I wrap up quickly and just say the concept and most, the language in here, the ENA committee did find to be acceptable. So have a good time with it, and we'll leave it in your trusted hands now.
Thank you, Representative. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, I do thank you for recognizing the wisdom of the Senate.
Always.
The last person that I have signed up to speak on this bill is Colleen Smith from the Department of Health and Human Services. Colleen, yep, there you go.
Good morning, Senator French and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Colleen Smith, and I'm the administrator of the Food Protection Section within the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak on this bill, and especially thank Representative Knurk for bringing this legislation forward and bringing attention to the issue of CBD and its unregulation in New Hampshire. While the department recognizes that this bill has underlying merits, we do have concerns about the bill as written and therefore are opposed to House Bill 272. The department would like to note that there is possible federal legislation, and it may be premature and conflict with federal standards that may be available we hope within the next year. These are long overdue at the federal level to assist with regulation of this product, not only for New Hampshire, but for other states as well. We also have concerns about the addition, this bill would allow the addition of CBD to foods, and that currently isn't allowed. CBD isn't an approved food additive because the safety of the product as a whole, it hasn't been thoroughly studied. We're again waiting for further guidance at the federal level, but this would certainly conflict with our current food safety regulations. And as was alluded to, this bill would cover much more than food products. It would cover ointments, tinctures, lotions, which are available in many locations beyond food establishments. So therefore, this bill in essence creates an entirely new regulatory program. We know CBD products are available in hair salons, in pet stores, in vape shops, health and wellness providers' offices, which again go beyond the scope of where our food inspectors are now. We have estimated that approximate costs in FY22 would be approximately $485,000 and an additional $360,000 in FY23. And even though there is a $250 registration per product, we are uncertain about the universe of products that would need to be regulated, and also the uncertainty if the private donations or industry donations were allowed. Those are uncertain funds, and we wouldn't be able to necessarily rely that those would be enough to support an effective program. So in closing, while House Bill 272 does have protections to assure the safety of CBD infused products, we would want this program to be effective, and to do this well, we would need the appropriate funding to ensure an effective program. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee has.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, I do appreciate your testimony today.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I did have one question, if I may.
get that hand right up there.
Sorry, it wasn't up fast enough. Mr.
Go
Chairman.
ahead, Senator Susie.
Thank you. Could you tell me, does the department field questions or complaints about these products now?
Our area has not received any direct complaints. We do know that, certainly if anyone's had an adverse reaction, they might be going to their provider or contacting the Poison Control Center. We have more inquiries about folks wanting to add CBD to foods. That's probably the majority of questions that we feel. And as I mentioned before, we currently aren't allowing that addition to CBD to food.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Senator Bradley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Ms. Smith, you would feel much more comfortable if it did not have the ability to add CBD into food products, right? Is that my takeaway?
Correct. This would conflict with our food code because CBD isn't considered a food additive. Anytime a component is added to a drug, as Representative Knurk mentioned, it's an allowable ingredient in Epidiolex. And so when something is an ingredient in a drug, it's by default not allowed to be added to food. It would take more further research to be able to demonstrate that there is any safe amounts to be added to food.
And if I could, Mr. Chair, so the federal regulation that you cited, initially at least, does it look as if food is going to be included in that regulatory oversight or not?
That I'm not certain of. We've been waiting for FDA to give further guidance on CBD and its safety for a while, but we do have information that there hopefully is something in the works. Again, we're hopeful within the next year.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Senator French, that is everyone that I had signed up to speak, and Representative Knurk has his hand raised to speak for a second time.
Sure, go ahead.
Representative, you should be able to unmute
Thanks.
yourself.
Yes. Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
You can-
Okay, so just a quick thing too. I thought that this Natural Products Association was going to be here. I know that they did send you some written testimony if you wish to look at that. I thought they were going to actually be here to testify. I would actually just offer one thing. I actually would prefer CBD not be added to food. When we had our committee, legislative committee, it was 3 people. I did not want to add it to food, but I was outvoted. So I did bring forward adding it to food, but I agree that I would prefer it not be in food, and certainly would be very comfortable amending that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator French, I also have a hand raised for a phone number, which I believe is a representative from that Natural Products Association.
Good, go ahead.
Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself. You may have to dial *6. Oh, there you go. Looks like you're unmuted.
Hey, this is Kyle Turk from the Natural Products Association. Sorry for the confusion there. Just wanted to be really brief. The Natural Products Association is in support of the legislation. In the last 3 years, about 3,000 products have come to market without a consistent approach at the federal level. I know there was a question earlier as to how many states have introduced or passed something similar to what is being considered today, and the answer to that is about 24 states have looked at regulating CBD products as dietary supplements because of the inaction at the Food Drug Administration. So this legislation is desperately needed, not just in New Hampshire, but across the country. And we urge a yes vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Senator French, there are no hands raised at this time.
Very good. Then I'll close the hearing on House Bill 272. We have one more bill to hear today. Be opening the hearing on House Bill 261 relative to apprenticeship programs in trade and industry. Is this prime sponsor with us?
Yes, Representative Seaworth, you should be all set.
Thank you
Representative,
very much.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be back. I've got another housekeeping bill. Let me see if you can see me. Yes. Hi.
Hey.
I've got another
Okay.
housekeeping bill for your consideration this morning. For the record, I am Representative Brian Seaworth. I am from Pembroke. I represent the district that includes Pembroke and Chichester. And I am also the vice chairman of the House Labor Committee, which was where this bill was heard in the House. As I said, HB 261 is a housekeeping bill. This is language that came to us from the New Hampshire Department of Labor and is also a request from the U.S. Department of Labor. This bill is a little longer than the one we talked about a couple weeks ago, but hopefully it will be as easy to deal with. Essentially, what we're trying to do here is this section of the RSA. Pardon me, I have the wrong thing up over here. Sorry. This section of the RSA is what authorizes the New Hampshire Apprenticeship Council, and the changes in this bill will bring into line what the Apprenticeship Council actually does and put that into the law. The changes are, you can see there's some simple changes in language, reducing the duties as far as meeting requirements to what the council actually does. The biggest change is that as of 2007, the Federal Department of Labor has taken over some of the duties that this RSA assigns to our state apprenticeship council. And so this simply brings it back in line with the reality to what's been done for almost 15 years now, the responsibilities with this council versus the U.S. Department of Labor. And again, I emphasize what we're not trying to do here is make any policy changes. We're not trying to restrict the council in any way with what they do or what they might wish to do. It's simply aligning state and federal requirements. Hopefully, we also have the New Hampshire Department of Labor here to fill in some of the details. So I'll leave it at that, but I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none. Thanks for introduction.
Thank you very much. Have a great morning.
Okay, the only other person that I have signed up to speak is Rudy Ogden from the Department of Labor.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator French. For the record, my name is Rudy Ogden, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Labor. As Representative Seaworth indicated, this is a bill that we brought forward since 2007. The U.S. Department of Labor has had responsibility in the role related to promulgating standards for apprenticeship programs in this state. They have been the agency that has registered apprenticeship programs, set the standards for registered apprenticeship programs, and provided technical guidance for registered apprenticeship programs in the state of New Hampshire. So again, this is looked at as clarifying things. I would note that there have been a number of folks in the trades who have come forward with questions concerning this bill. Any of those folks who have come forward, we've been able to assuage their concerns. We've talked to them. We've put them in direct contact with the Office of Apprenticeship, which is based in Concord for New Hampshire. And again, all of the concerns that have come up about any type of potential change have been assuaged because, again, there are no changes here in terms of practice. This is just taking steps to make sure that the existing statute reflects reality. So again, this does not change existing practice, at least since 2007. So I'm happy to hear any questions or offer any responses to any questions that folks may have.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, you're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator French, that is everyone that I had signed up to speak, and there are no hands raised at this time.
Very good. Then I'll close the hearing on House Bill 261.
I move executive session.
We have a motion for executive session by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Jones. Oh, well, Senator Kavanaugh
Yes.
and Senator French says yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would move ought to pass on House Bill 261.
I'll second.
We have a motion of ought to pass on House Bill 261 by Senator Susie, seconded by Senator Kavanaugh. Any discussion on that? I don't know if this is really warranted. I don't think we need it. I think it's time to go. Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Senator Bradley,
Yes.
and Senator French says yes. Do I have a motion for consent?
So moved.
Motion of consent by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Kavanaugh. Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator French says yes. Anyone want to take that out?
I can.
Senator Susie will take that out. So that leaves us one more.
So if the committee was willing, I'd be willing to make a motion of re-refer. The couple of reasons. I think, well, I'm less concerned with the funding issue, because I think, the budget's in our hand, I guess that does raise a question mark. Number two, I think the food requirement should be struck from the bill. I agree with the sponsor of that. And number three, I think a re-referral process would give us a few months to, see what happens in Washington in terms of regulation. I would just say, as somebody who routinely uses CBD ointment, I think the ointment I've been buying for the last couple of years does come from Vermont. So, and I suspect that much of, what's sold in places, and it's mostly in health food stores that you see CBD products, is good, high quality. So I don't know that there's an imminent problem. And I think if there is some cross purposes with what might happen in Washington, we would probably be better advised to wait a few months at least.
I would
I would
second.
agree.
I didn't make that motion. I just asked
Thought
it.
you did.
Well, I'm happy to
If
second
it
it.
was a motion, I would second.
All right, I'll make that motion to re-refer.
We have a motion to reaffirm by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yep.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Senator French says yes.
Move consent?
We have a
Second.
motion for consent by Senator Susie, seconded by Senator Bradley. Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Senator French says yes. Senator Bradley, you want to take that out?
I would be happy to do so.
Thank you. Any other business?
I move that we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Gannon.
Senator French, I
Senator
think.
Bradley,
Senator French.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move that we come out of executive session.
I was going to catch you on that, but I thought you knew something I didn't know. So we have a motion to come out of executive session by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
Yes.
Senator Gannon,
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh,
Yes.
and Senator French says yes. Now, Senator Bradley, since you were in such a rush to get out of here, we have a motion to adjourn by Senator Bradley, seconded by Senator Susie. Senator Bradley.
Yes.
Senator Susie.
Yes.
Senator Gannon.
Yes.
Senator Kavanaugh.
Yes.
And Senator French says we'll see you later. Thank you very much.